Oh, okay. Inshallah, we should be able to begin now. In alhamdulillah, wassalat, wassalamallah, wa rasulullah. Welcome to our first class for today, which is our Aqidah class. And something that I want to remind all of you about, I know we like to, we're living in the days right now of the internet. It's not going to be forever, okay? Eventually these days are going to end. I hope y'all know that. You know, what's going on in Palestine is going to eventually impact everyone in the world. And I don't want you Muslims to ever forget that, because our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that. So right now we can enjoy that we have the internet and all this technology and peace in most parts of the world. But the day will come when what's going on over there in Palestine will will be happening all over the earth. I don't want y'all to ever forget that. We have to be reminded of the signs of Allah. And that's my job as a daya. And I hope other daya remind you as well. Some of the daya go too far. There's some daya out there that's all they talk about. And they won't stop posting up pictures of dead bodies and stuff. It's taken some people, there's a lot of Muslims that's going through anxiety attacks. I don't know if you guys are aware, because you guys are living most of you that are listening to me are in the Western part of the world, the non-Muslim governed part of the world. So you don't get to hear the stories of what's going on in the Muslim governed parts of the world. A lot of Muslims are suffering with anxiety, can't sleep, depression, because this is how we become. We're weak as a nation. To now, we don't focus on Aqidah. That's what it boils down to. And like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when these days come to be, where people have deviated away from the traditional Islam, and they're more into the life of this world, more into the money and the pleasures of this world, they're not going to know how to handle themselves when Allah does send a reminder to them, letting them know what's still yet to come. So in the Muslim populated world, a lot of Muslims are having a hard time, because some people are going over, as again, we've deviated away from balance. We're going overboard in our reminders. Okay, then we have other people like here in the West where we try to hide it. We want to censor it to the point where I don't want to talk about it anymore. We have to have balance. We have to find that balance between all of that. Okay, so you Muslims are going to have to balance yourself out, because the worst has not even happened yet. But the day will come when every corner of the earth, as the prophet said, there will be no space on this earth, no city, no town, no country that will not be experiencing what you see going on over there. So you can say bye-bye to technology. It won't be no websites and internet connections and cell phones to carry you through. You're going to be going through dystopia. That's why I tell y'all to read them dystopian novels that I like to write and read. Okay? Because it's going to be like that. Okay? So, as the prophet said, the only thing that's going to get us through those times is our faith, our shahada, that la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Something that happened last night in our last class that I just can't get off my mind is we had a person here, a student, and he's a good brother, but the brother's been Muslim for a little while, but he doesn't understand the basics of his religion. You know, it behooves me to learn that we have Muslims today. I'm sorry, I forgot to share it. Yeah, I got sisters messaging me, telling me, Layla, you didn't post it up in the groups. I'm sorry. Okay, here I come. It behooves me to know that we have Muslims today that don't understand the basics. We have Muslims today that believe that there will be Christians in paradise. Muslims that believe that there will be kafirs in paradise. You know, that shows how messed up we are. That's a person that's not going to make it. I mean, I'm just being serious. If you don't understand La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, you're not going to be able to make it through the hard times. The Prophet said that. If you don't understand that paradise is a reward that Allah has promised to the believers, and he defines who the believers are. Allah says, who are the believers? They are the ones who submit themselves to me. They're the ones who pray 5 times a day. They're the ones who fast. They're the ones who give in charity. That's not a Christian. They're the ones that enjoin the good, forbid the evil, stay away from everything I command them to stay away from. That's not a Christian. If we don't understand that paradise is the reward for that, then you're not going to make it, dude. You're not going to make it when that war comes. If there's going to be Christians, I want you guys to think about it, you brothers that are that messed up in the mind. I want y'all to ponder this. If there's going to be Christians in paradise, why did anybody convert to Islam? Why come everybody here can't just choose to be Christian? If there will be one, what did the brother say? If there will be one set of Christians in paradise, then why is it that Islam says anyone who apostates from this religion, that's the crime of capital punishment? If that's the case, you know, then I can just say, well, I believe in Allah. Let me just go on ahead and be a Christian. Are you brothers that messed up in the head? I couldn't sleep last night thinking about that. You're not going to make it. I'm sorry. You're not going to make it. The Prophet said the only thing that will sustain the believers during those times will be their certainty of faith, their certainty of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. If you're walking around thinking that your Christian wife can be in paradise, you don't understand La ilaha illallah. You don't have certainty of faith. You can forget it, Akib. Bye-bye. You'll be with the Antichrist. Do y'all see how serious that is? We Muslims have got to learn our religion. You brothers got to get up off of the sex mobile and get into the Islam mobile and start learning your deen. You sisters are gonna have to put on your hijabs and start loving yourselves instead of looking for a man to love. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love Allah, or you are not gonna make it. When that war happens, you're not gonna have even a quarter of the resilience that those believers got over in Palestine. You people got to get it together, Muslims. Seriously, Muslims have to get it together. And it all begins with aqidah, 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 which means your belief system, your belief system, your belief system. All them other lectures don't mean nothing if your belief system ain't together. You can give all the charity you want to in the world. You can sing a peace to the world, whatever. If your belief system is not correct, none of that is accepted. Your prayers, your fast, your charity, nothing is accepted if you do not understand what la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah means. I keep telling y'all, only the strong survive. The weak, they don't survive. They're cast. Only the strong survive. And that's why Allah says the strong believer is more beloved to him than a weak one. Y'all better stop being weak Muslims. Learn your deen correctly and learn to submit to what Allah says, and stop thinking you can change what he says, that you can argue against what he says, that you can choose a human's sayings over his. Get it together, Muslims. Allah has the signs. Accept them and make the necessary changes. So this class is the most important class here. And today what we're going to do is we're almost done with this first volume. I hope everybody has ordered or is still ordering Diluting Wal Bara Volume 2 from Amazon, because we're on page 335 today to 339, which is chapter 8, which is almost the end of these last chapters of that book. Of the second half are the introduction to volume 2. So I really hope you guys have bought the book, because I think this the last chapter, Mina, before we go into chapter volume 2. I think it was 8 chapters. I think this is the last chapter of volume 1, which helps prepare for what's to come in volume 2. So make sure you guys order the book. All right, let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen for tonight's discussion. Oh, where am I at? Let me start with the people on my Zoom room. And I'm going to share you guys to Instagram. Oh, there's Instagram. By the way, for the people on Instagram, alhamdulillah, that's Sister Sherelle, Tika, and Brother Issa Youssef. MashaAllah, I can see you guys too. So if you guys happen to have any questions on Instagram, y'all can type them and I'll be able to see you. Okay. Now for the rest of you, I'm getting ready to go into the, wait a minute, first let me cut this off. And I want everybody to take screenshots, because you guys don't do well on my quizzes. I think it's a lot of information. So like I was saying, do like my regular students are doing, take screenshots. My students here are in the Zoom room, and it's about 30 or 40 of them in there now. They take screenshots of everything, because I get on them. I get on them for not knowing the answers. So when I put the PowerPoint up on the screen for the rest of you listening on YouTube, Facebook, and also TV, because I got some followers on TV too, watching me on YouTube channel, take screenshots with your cell phone. Yeah, that's Instagram. So that what? Yeah, that's Instagram. I'm on Instagram, also Twitter. For those of you watching me on Twitter, next time, remind me tomorrow to share with Twitter. The people on Twitter, I can see your typing too. If you type on Twitter, I can see you. Okay? All right. So now let me switch this to, how do I do it? Yeah, I got to remind myself. I go here and switch it off. Okay, you guys watch the snow for a minute. and I click on this. This is a different streaming program, a different streaming setup I'm using. Okay, and I go to Wal Bara. Okay, allow, and go here. You guys should see my screen. There you go. And I'm going to make it big screen, full screen for you. That's full screen. Hold on. I have to drink my tea. I need my tea. Yes, I drink tea and coffee. Believe it or not, tea is my favorite, especially jasmine tea. This is so calming. My anxiety was off the hook today, so I'm drinking Dr. Asim's jasmine tea. So calming. Okay, so today we're going to this is pages 336 through 339 of volume 1, the blue book. This is the blue book, Diluting Wal Bara. That's how it looks. So turn to page 336 and take a screenshot with your cell phone or iPad of this PowerPoint, because this will be page 1, and then you can print them out at the end of the lecture, staple them together, and then use a clip them to page 336 of your book. So that way you will have my notes, as so when you review these again with your families or yourselves. All right. So we're going to speak about how, unfortunately, guys, a lot of Muslims, a lot of you have been telling me, Sister Layla, why come no one's ever taught this? I've never heard anybody, any brothers in our communities speak about this. Well, a lot of Muslims don't like talking about allegiance. They don't like discussing Al Wala Wal Bara. They want to try to abolish it, because they don't understand the concept of allegiance and disassociation. They believe that teaching allegiance and disassociation is teaching hatred, which is not. That's another reason why a lot of people that used to speak on my website, I used to allow a lot of those famous speakers here, but they all got removed one by one. And as you can see, I'm never bringing them back. And one of the complaints that they had about me was they said I was teaching hatred, because I've been teaching Wal Bara since 1990. We've always taught this. Okay. I've always taught about the allies of Allah. Y'all remember that? But my classes were called the Awliya of Allah and the Awliya of Shaitan. That's the heading I used to use. And the brothers hated me teaching that, because they said I was teaching hate. That's not correct. To think that teaching Wal Bara is teaching hate, this is what the extremists believe. Okay? To think that there's a such thing as La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah minus Wal Bara, this is not Islam. Because allegiance and disassociation are fundamental components of our belief system, guys. But you'll be surprised how many of the Mu'tazilai, it's the Mu'tazilai that want to abolish it. The Kharijites, they go to the extreme with it, using it to call everybody kafir, like we talked about last week. Everybody's a kafir with the Kharijites. Well, the Mu'tazilai, and there's a lot of Mu'tazilai here in America, a lot of these famous American speakers who y'all follow and listen to on YouTube, who have millions of followers, they belong to the Mu'tazilai. They're not Kharijite. They're Mu'tazilai. And that's why you don't hear those brothers and sisters talking about this, because their aim is to abolish it. But we need to let it be known, any attempts to abolish the Wal Bara, we have to look at it with caution. You have to look at it and realize what it is that you are attempting to abolish. Because these two terms, Al Bara and Al Wala, reflect two actions of the heart that cannot be removed. We cannot remove these two actions of the heart. And those two actions are the strongest emotions man has, and that is love and hate. Love and hate. Al Wala being love, Al Bara being hate. And both of those actions of the heart are connected to our relationship with Allah and our relationship with each other. And the one that many Muslims struggle with is Al Bara, because Al Bara is the action that refers to hating for the sake of Allah. And I remember when I taught this class in the 2000s, I had a lot of women here from MySpace. A lot of women here from MySpace who were new converts. They could not understand when I would talk about Al Bara. They would say, you're saying God is hate. No, he isn't. I said, I didn't say that. I said, Allah hates everything that he made haram. And the Prophet Muhammad said that hate is a component of faith. Those women belong to the Mu'tazila communities. And their imams told them that I was a hate teacher, a hate speaker. And they left after slandering the heck out of me, okay? But this is what broke them. They could not accept that hating is a component of faith. To reject it means your understanding. As Muslims, we are commanded to hate everything that Allah hates. We're commanded to hate anything that goes against our belief system. We're commanded to hate anything that goes against our Islamic morality. Allah tells us in the Quran, the things he hates are the things he made haram. We're supposed to hate adultery. We're supposed to hate alcohol. We're supposed to hate lying, hate cheating, hate everything that Allah hates. We're supposed to reject false gods, reject idols. We reject anything that is contrary to our Islamic teachings. We reject fornication. We reject adultery. We reject sodomy. We reject polyandry. Polyandry is when a woman has more than one husband. A big innovation going on now. We'll talk about that. There's a lot of so-called Muslim women taking on two husbands now. We reject all of that. This is why we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. We reject a boyfriend, girlfriend. This is why we don't celebrate the 4th of July. We reject Zionism. That's what it is. This is why we don't celebrate any of these non-Muslim holidays. It's also why we don't celebrate birthdays, because we reject false gods. So Al Bara is the first principle of the declaration of faith, guys. It deals with negation or rejection of anything that contradicts our Islamic belief system. And then the second pillar of our faith is Al Wala. This is affirmation. That means we affirm everything that Allah affirms. We love everything that Allah loves. We love him. We love his prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we love all the believers who share the same faith as us. That's what I was talking about yesterday with that brother. You know, you want to defend your Christian Kafir wife. If it came down to it, your wife got to go. If that war were to break out today, Aki, your wife ain't on the side with us. Your allegiance is supposed to be to the Muslim women, not to no Kafir woman, even if it's your wife, even if it's your mother, even if it's your sister, Aki. Like I told him, you're lost. You're not going to be no good. You're not going to be good for anyone, no Muslim, if anything were to break out now. Because you're confused. You're lost. Your allegiance is misplaced. We have to also understand that Al Wala, which is allegiance, is not just limited to individuals, but to groups and communities. where loyalty and support are given to them because they follow our same belief system, our same values. We don't choose a Christian organization over a Muslim organization, just like we don't choose protecting a Christian over a Muslim. What unites us is La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. That statement, that testimony of faith is what brings us together and unites us. So both Bara and Al Wala are fundamental parts of our belief system. And I've been teaching this stuff since 1986. And finally, I got a person that can stand up and say, Layla's not teaching hate. That's why I'm using this book of Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd's. Finally, in English, a book that has everything that I've been teaching in my whole Dawah career. Where the other brothers accused me of teaching hate. That's why they're not here anymore. Okay? So, allegiance and disassociation are fundamental parts of our belief system and practice, and we have to implement them in our personal lives because doing so promotes brotherhood and sisterhood. That's why we don't have it here. It also promotes harmony and social justice within the Muslim communities. And this is why so many Muslim communities here in America don't have that brotherhood and that sisterhood, because they want to abolish this. They want to remove Al Wala, Wal Bara. To neglect these principles or to misapply them. The Mu'tazilite reject them. The Kharijites misapply them. When this happens, this leads to disunity. It leads to sectarianism, which is what we have, and even extremism, which we can see in America all across the country. Look at Texas. Texas. That's where you see all that Islamic sectarianism. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. That's where you find that sectarianism in Texas with the Muslims. Then you got extremism. You find a lot of extremism, where else, Geechee? In New York. The East Coast of New York, Philly, Philadelphia, you know, New Jersey. This is America, it's the truth. And then you find a lot of disunity, like you see in the West Coast, California, Fresno, all that disunity in California. Because as Muslims, we fail to implement the principles of Wal Bara and Al Wala. Okay? When we neglect to interpretate and apply the principles of allegiance and disassociation, you know, it results in what we see all across America: extremism in certain parts like the East Coast, disunity in certain parts of America like the West Coast, okay? Sectarianism like we see in the South, you know, all of that. Let's take a look at this. As a result of all of that misinterpretation, a lot of Muslims live in fear of it. They listen to a person like me. How is it? Let's have been told, oh, I don't want to talk to sister. That sister Layla, I don't want to listen to her. She scares me. How many of you have been told by other Muslims, oh, I don't like her. She scares me. Then you find some people, that's the Mu'tazilite, who are suspicious of me. Okay? So this is why we're divided. You know, when you got people teaching Al Wala, Wal Bara, people don't know how to take it. Either you're going to be fearful, thinking that we're teaching hate, or you're going to be suspicious. So this divides the community. And that's why it's crucial for us to get back to the basics of Islam. This is something that I tell the daya all the time. Leave that political junk alone. Get back to the basics. Teach the people what la ilaha illallah truly means, so they can understand the importance of balance. Because Wala Wal Bara promotes balance within our communities. Learn how to love for the sake of Allah and hate for the sake of Allah. If we did everything, those two emotions for the sake of Allah, it brings about balance. We wouldn't be loving our husbands more than ourselves. We wouldn't be loving our sheikhs more than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is what we see. So just because a Muslim is teaching love and hate for the sake of Allah, this is not equated with extremism or terrorism. And you shouldn't be afraid, you know, to use the word hate as a Muslim. I remember I had one of those imams that I used to allow to come here to teach. And I remember those sisters in Texas complained about me. This brother called me on the phone and told me, Sister Layla, don't ever use the word kafir and don't ever use the word hate because you're giving a bad impression of Islam. I told him, you got to get up out of my website. I said, number one, you don't tell me what to teach because you don't run this. This is El Quran wa Sunnah. I'm the director of this baby here. I said, number two, you don't even know that Isha, that the prayer Isha does not end at 12. So, brother, you ain't qualified to tell me nothing. I don't care about your so-called PhD from some online school in Islam. And I hung up on him. I'll never forget that. Sheikh Morsi told me to kick him out the website. I'll never forget that. Here's a brother that's going around telling people in his khutbahs that you got to pray Isha before 12, otherwise you missed the prayer. This idiot telling me because I'm teaching Wala Wal Bara and because I use the word kafir, I'm giving Islam a bad look. But he ain't giving Islam a bad look, and to this day he's telling people that they can't. Isha ends at 12. What an idiot. Oh, God, I can think about some of the stuff I went through on this website. It's just ridiculous. That's why I ain't got nobody here but who I got, Dr. Dramali, and that's it. Subhanallah. All right? So, you know, there's no such thing as Islam without love and hate for the sake of Allah, and accusing those who practice the moderate application of Al Bara's principles of promoting hate, accusing us of promoting hateful and violent ideologies. This is wrong, guys. Like I used to tell my students, hate for the sake of Allah is good. It's not a bad thing. It's part of faith. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even if it's against yourself, your parents, your kith and kin, whether it's against the rich or the poor. This is Al Bara, guys. If you hate for the sake of Allah, I'm going to hate everything that Allah hates. Allah hates stinginess, so I hate it too. Allah hates oppression, so I hate it too. I'm not going to allow you to oppress another person, whether that person's a Muslim or not. Just because you're my mother, just because you're my father, that doesn't give you the authority to oppress somebody else, to lie to somebody else, to cheat somebody. So that's Al Bara. And Islam holds justice as one of its most fundamental objectives. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, whoever amongst you sees an evil, let him change it with his hand. And if he's unable to do that, then change it with his tongue. And if he can't do that, then at least hate it in his heart. And when we hate it in our heart, we make dua against it. So how can you call yourself a scholar of Islam, but say that you're against teaching Wal Bara? This is the problem that I had with the brothers that used to be on my website. Okay? That's why I'm not bringing nobody back. So this hadith highlights the responsibility of Muslims to act against oppression, to act against injustice. And the only way we can act correctly is by loving what Allah loves and hating only what he hates. Again, Allah says, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even if it's against yourself, your parents, the rich, or the poor. So even if it goes against our interests, we stand up for what's right, neglecting to defend the rights of others. This means you got a problem with your aqidah. You got a problem with your belief system. And that's what happens. A lot of these brothers who are into this, get rid of Wal Bara, don't teach that. Don't teach that on your website. That's what they used to say. This leads to turning a blind eye to human rights. Now do y'all see why in certain parts of America we have problems? A lot of the sisters say, Sister Layla, how can this brother be found guilty of raping a girl in his community and he's still an imam? Because they turned the blind eye to the rights of others. Y'all see what happens when we don't uphold allegiance and disassociation? We let people transgress Allah's limits. How is it that you got a brother, still a famous celebrity here in America, who's been proven and caught on camera to mix with innovators, homosexuals? He's been caught numerous times making statements of aqidah that are not correct. But he's still a famous speaker, still calling him a scholar, still people worship this dude, basically. It's because this is what happens when we try to abolish Wal Bara. We turn a blind eye to human rights violations. We turn a blind eye to the rights of Allah being transgressed. The companions weren't like this. The companions wouldn't allow anyone to hold a position of authority if that person was proven to be a person with belief, aqidah issues. Okay? So whenever we fail to defend the rights of others, that shows that these are people who are negligent in Wal Bara. This is a component of faith. So now I'm going to give you guys a quiz, couple of questions. Question number 1. Why is it that many Muslims refuse to teach or speak about Wal Bara? Why is it that a lot of Muslims don't want to talk about allegiance and disassociation? Come on, guys, we got another class. We got Brother Mukhtar at 7 o'clock. Y'all know it takes me 15 minutes to get set up. Why is it that many Muslims refuse to teach or speak about allegiance and disassociation? Nobody's going to answer?
Because they think.
What? Go ahead.
Because they think it's hating.
Okay, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, they think you're teaching hate. They think you're teaching hatred. Good job. Any other answers? Okay, we'll accept that one because I got another class. What about this? El Bara.
Also because they do.
Go ahead.
All right.
Also because what?
I was just going to say they don't understand the allegiance.
Exactly.
So they can't teach something that they don't.
Exactly. That's the number one thing. But they don't understand what Wala Bara is about. That's the part of the Shahada that people don't understand. So since they don't understand it, it's anything that we don't understand, we want to make it bad. We want to make it dirty. We want to make it haram. So when we talk about El Bara, which is disassociation, it refers to rejecting which of the following: rejecting false deities, rejecting verses or things said about Islam that are not from Allah or the Prophet. Or does it refer to rejecting anything that contradicts our identity? Or is it all of the above or none of the above? Which one y'all think there?
All of the above.
You guys agree? All of the above?
Yes.
Good job. That's all it is. El Bara, like I had to tell this imam, all I'm teaching is El Bara. Disassociation from anything that comes between us and Allah, anything that contradicts our identity. The brother told me, Sister Layla, you're too harsh, too mean. You need to change your dawah methods. Y'all know who he was. Last question. Neglecting to teach Wal Bara leads to which of the following? Fear of it, incorporation of good Muslim identity, imbalance, all of the above, or the first and last? Which answer is correct? Neglecting or not teaching it leads to which of those?
I would say the first and the last.
You guys agree? She said neglecting to teach Wal Bara leads to fear of it and imbalance. Y'all agree?
I say all of the above.
I say all of the above.
All of the above.
Okay, if y'all said all of the above, what's the second one? The second one is incorporation of good Muslim identity. So if I neglect to teach Wal Bara, will you have a good Muslim identity?
No, ma'am. No, you will not. The reason why I said the first one and the third one is because if you're gonna fear it because you don't know anything about it, and because it's imbalanced because you're not balancing your love and hate the way Allah has taught you to.
Okay, she's right. That's what I've been teaching you guys. That's the reason why you look at different parts of America. Seriously, let me put my screen back up. Mukhtar just took the pressure off me. He's going to be a little late. Good job. Mukhtar is going to be 15 minutes late so I can slow down. Why is it that if you look at the East Coast of America, that's where most of your extremism in Islam is? You look at the West Coast of America, that's where a lot of your disunity is. You look at the southern parts of America, you see a lot of sectarianism. It's all because they're not teaching Wal Bara. They're not balanced. How can you balance your love for Allah and his prophet and the people without hate? You need hate to balance out love. And how can you hate without hating on a personal level, without love? Those two emotions that Allah created work hand in hand. You go to the East Coast, they hate you because you don't follow their sheikh, because you got on makeup. She wearing colors. I think she's a sinner. I think he's a sinner. So I hate him. They a kafir. That's extremism. No balance. West Coast, it's all mixed up. Gay rights in there too. Okay? The South, sister, it's all about interfaith. Sister, We all got to can't we all just get along? Can't we all just be half Muslim and half Kafir? Can't we all just be accepted by the Lord of all mankind? And we all three, what they say, we all the Abrahamic faiths. That's where all that Abrahamic crap comes from, the South. So this is messed up. Your Muslim identity is destroyed. You don't have a Muslim identity. Either you're an extremist, a sectarianist, or you just mixed up, confused. You don't know your head from your toes. You're walking around, don't even know the Shahada. Don't even know the Tashahud. Y'all see that? So, fear. The answer was fear and imbalance. Without Wal Bara, you live in fear and you are imbalanced. Your love and hate has to work together hand in hand to balance you out. You got to hate what Allah hates. Why is it that people still getting high, smoking weed, having sex out of wedlock? Because their love and hate is not balanced out. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Any questions or comments? I know I kind of rushed it because I wished I had known I would have took my time. I didn't look at my messages. Mukhtar tried to tell me. Okay. Any questions or comments, people? I also want to remind you guys that we have 2 seerahs. Mukhtar will be coming on at 7:15. He will be doing the life of Abu Bakr. The Caliph of Abu Bakr. Then my class tonight, inshallah, tonight I will be doing the story of Safiya, who was the aunt of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and hers is such a powerful story. I've been telling you guys that the Arab women did not stay at home. The Arabic women were on the battlefield. I've been telling y'all this. You're going to see them. See it with Safiya because she was a warrior, just like her brother. And who was her brother? Her brother was Hamza. Just like Salama was a warrior, just like her cousin, Khalid bin Walid, trained in warfare. Safiya was trained in warfare too. Most of the Arab women were. That's why I really wish you guys would take some history classes so you can see what it was like in the dark. And I'm not talking about the history of Arabs, because it wasn't just the Arabs. This was the medieval dark ages. All the women that lived on earth at that time. If it was a woman of status or a woman that you love, if you gave birth to a daughter, if a family gave birth to a girl, either they would bury her alive, this was all over the world, or they would train her how to protect herself, because the female gender back then was viewed as nothing more than meat. So if a person loved their daughter, they taught her how to defend herself in case the town was attacked. Because if she was taken as a captive of war, she would either be prostituted, sold into slavery as a prostitute, or she would be a concubine of someone. They would pump her up with babies, and if they felt she was unattractive, if they didn't find her attractive, they just kill her. So that's how it was in the medieval dark. That's why it's called the dark ages of history. So not only did the Arab women know how to fight, the Viking women knew how to fight too. Y'all see them Viking shows? That stuff was true. The Roman women, y'all saw 300. Just the women, they knew how to fight too. The Greek women, they fought too. Indian women, Persian women. Back in the dark ages, the women were trained to defend themselves if they were allowed to live at all. because a woman was considered a hindrance. Many girl babies were killed back then, buried alive. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I did something bad here. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's telling me that I clicked on something. What did I click on here? Okay, I see it. I see it. I see it. The man came in here. I guess this dude is off his Christmas vacation. You back, huh? Okay, but yeah, so today I'm going to do the story of Safiya radiallahu anha, who was the sister of Hamza and the aunt of the Prophet, and all of the hadiths I'm giving y'all are straight from out of Bukhari. She was a stone fast warrior like all them other women were. I'm telling y'all, this misconception that you Western Muslims have been led to believe for decades about women is corrupt. It's corrupt. I don't know where y'all got it from. I don't know. It ain't from no hadiths. Y'all let some men come to this country and tell y'all their watered down version of Islam and how they think you Western women should be, because the women in their countries wouldn't have them. You see, they didn't come with no wives. Shouldn't that tell you, sister, something? Why come women in their country didn't want them? But they're going to come over here and tell y'all to be oppressive. Women back in their country would knock them out. If they acted crazy with them. So we're going to go over her story. This is a little thing I put together. Let me show it to y'all. Let's see. From one of the most powerful Arabic tribes, she was a great warrior, skilled with horses and the sword, a woman of courage, a woman of valor. She proved this when she came forward to defend the Prophet, her nephew, when the men left him abandoned on the battlefield. Join Ustada Lailanasheeba as she details the story of Safiya bint Abdul Muttalib, the aunt of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, that's her story, inshallah, guys. I'm showing it to the people on Zoom. Sorry, Zoomers, y'all just have to just be out of it. Yeah, she was a warrior just like her brother. And boy, did she not only participated in Uhud, but also the Battle of the Trench. This woman cut some heads off. Hello, took the head off of a bunch of men when the men would not take the heads off. So I don't know where the Western world gets this messed up ideology, and I do mean it's messed up. Where y'all get this messed up ideology thinking that Muslim women are oppressed and, you know, good for nothing except, making babies and licking pus and worshiping a man. That's not true, because Arabic women never worshiped a man. It was never part of their nature, to do nothing like that. And they were very warrior, just like the rest of the women were back in them days. As they were on the battlefields, they were fighting because nobody wanted to be nobody's slave to be prostituted. Nobody wanted to be slaved into prostitution. Like they would say, I'd rather go out and fight to the death rather than be somebody's prostitute. Because that's what the women were when they were taken, if their men lost the battle. So the women would go out and fight to the death too. So I'm not going to be these crazy people's a prostitute. So we got to start using our common sense and learn this religion. And so I'm teaching y'all this religion. I hope y'all are coming and listening to these classes, and you sisters are inspired to be better women, to not be weak, simple-minded women. You're supposed to support your husband like these women did. They obeyed their husbands and supported them. And their husbands were good to them. When their husbands went out to fight, they had their husbands back. Those that could fight. Those that couldn't because they had the kids at home, they would stay at home, but they were sharpening their sword. So in case their men lost, when the victors came to ravage the town, the women and children that were left at home because they were sick or whatnot, they had their swords and they would fight to the death because they would prostitute the children too. The children would be sold into slavery too. Don't y'all watch movies like that? That's medieval movies. That part is real. Okay? Get a clue, people. Y'all think the women were just sitting at home counting on their fingers waiting to lick some pus? No. The only ones left at home were the sick, but they had a knife with them. So when they were ravaged, the men would come in, they'd stab them. I'm not going to be nobody's slave. I ain't going to be nobody's prostitute, nobody's bed mate, because that's what you were back then. And the poor children too. Boys too. The boys were prostituted too. So they died. Learn your deen and learn some history. All right, any questions? Okay, I'm going to close out for right now. I'll be logging back in 10 minutes with Brother Mukhtar's class. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.